Hi guys, and welcome back to the Hot Seat. I am your host, Priscilla, and we are not done with people in the film industry yet. Our next guest, I'm really excited to introduce you guys to her. She is not a newbie to social media shows. I actually did meet her prior at a red carpet months and months ago, over half a year ago, and I hope she remembers me. But she is a retired police officer. She also is very spiritual and talks a lot about how God has guided her to get where she is now. She has been in Vegas a long time, guys. She is queen, and she is a award-winning film producer, director, all of the above. She loves it. She's here. We love it. We love having her here. So everyone, please welcome Chaplain Tamia Dow. Hello, Queen.
Good to see you again. Yes.
Please take a seat. Climb on up. On that apple box. Welcome to the hot seat.
Thank
so
you
glad to have you
me.
here.
Yes.
It will not burn you, I promise. But there's so much that I want to unfold with you because you're a woman of many talents. You're multifaceted and things that people are not going to assume that you are, especially when you're marketing yourself in film now. You're a very spiritual woman and you're a woman of faith, which I love. But to get started, you moved back here in 1980, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not back. I moved here. Period.
Right. You moved here from Ohio, if I'm correct,
yes,
right?
Yes,
you moved here and stayed.
Yes.
Since 1980, you're young. You went to school here. You did go to UNLV.
Yes.
Correct. And interestingly enough, you're not only a Army veteran, but you're also a retired police officer.
Las Vegas, my fellow police department.
Yeah, and you originally actually wanted to be a Fed, no? Like that was
correct.
Right,
I went to be a DEA agent.
Yeah.
Because at the time I hablo un poquito español. You
right.
know, so I was able to. Now it's even less poquito.
You're like, I'm out of practice. It's English now, honey. But I know, I did a lot of research on my guests.
Obviously, it sounds like
because you're just sitting there like,
how did you
is
know
she
that?
a detective, like low key? But interestingly, my father was a detective in Fugitives and Warrants back in Chicago, so I feel like I just skipped that level of detective. I can be like, who is this
Love
person?
it, yes.
But I love that for you, and I feel like you've seen a lot, you've been through a lot, and it kind of molded you of who you are, and you've been able to carry that as a retired cop up until now.
Oh, yes.
Right?
I do a lot. In fact, it's a film I'm working on right now. That's why I'm dressed like I am. I was just scouting today. And time got away from me. I was like, oh my God, this was the show at 3 o'clock. So I was interviewing one of my characters. Like, it's going to be based on a true life character. So I'm interviewing the character, and I said, just be prepared. I go, this is going to be a very in-depth interview. I go, I'm going to be, putting my detective hat on, and we're going to be going down, Because when you're creating a character from a real character, there's a whole lot more work than if you're creating that character yourself, So I was really deep diving with him and asking him the back questions, like, what made you do this and why did you do that and what did you feel like when you did that and da-da-da-da-da, And he was real good sport about it because I told him ahead of time, I said, get ready. Because I said, get ready, it's going to be a deep dive. You're going to feel like he's a young guy, right? Okay. So but you'll feel like I'm a proctologist, okay? Because I'm going to be getting in there deep and figuring it all out,
Yeah, and back when you were, obviously you're using that type of skill now, but is there a moment back then when you kind of were questioning whether or not being a police officer was for you, even though that's always been your dream back when you were young? I feel like I heard you in one of the interviews I did watch that you always knew that you wanted to be a police officer in the force, correct?
Yes, I did. I always knew I wanted to be a police officer, but there's a season for everything, and I am the type of person that even when I was on the police department, I did my best to do a bunch of diverse jobs.
Okay.
I didn't want to be just driving the black and white all day, I didn't want to be particular one type of detective forever. When I retired, I was a domestic violence detective, which is my favorite assignment. I really enjoyed being a domestic violence detective because of the characters and the people that I dealt with, victims of domestic violence, sex trafficking, sometimes children, child abuse, things like that. I felt like that was the core of the vulnerability part of our society that really didn't have that much representation. So I was able to be in a position where I could possibly, make their lives better by what I did as a detective.
Yeah, and you also are very big on sex trafficking victims.
Big
Correct?
time, yes. Yeah. I often would make contact and work with victims that were initially identified as a domestic violence victim, but when I interviewed them, I found out that when they said old man or they said that was their man, they meant that was their pimp, that was their trafficker. And so therefore, after I got the more information on it, I would be able to work with them and work with Vice, because Vice also works with sex trafficking victims. But I was exposed to them, and that's how I learned a lot about working with victims or survivors now. Because at the time when I dealt with them, they were victims. So because I know there's a word issue amongst survivors, and they don't like to be called victims. Mm-hmm. But at the time, I, as a detective, was working with them, they were still in the victim state. And then, of course, now many of them are survivors.
Yeah, and it taught you a lot about talking to people and meeting people with non-judgment. I mean, even a lot of people believe that, police officers are seeking things out or judging you, like always things negatively, which unfortunately is a lot of a cop's life, is seeing negative things. But you don't come across as a woman who's going to look at someone that's like only looking at the bad. You're trying to bring out the good to help them. Correct?
Ideally, yeah. I do want to believe for good, but I'm also realistic. Mm-hmm. I'm realistic, and I keep people at arm's length.
Right.
I do, because
it's a natural instinct.
It's at this point. Very natural instinct.
You've
yes.
seen things. Are there still things that have stuck with you from back when you were on duty?
Oh, I can still see 2 of my domestic violence victims that literally died right in front of me. I can visually see what happened to them. One of the victims, I had gone to her house many times, and each time I went, it was just getting progressively more, like one time she had a punch, you couldn't see it. The next time she had a punch and you could see it. The next time she had a broken arm. The next time, what I'm saying? So it just kept getting worse and worse each time. And I told her, I said, you should really leave him. We have resources for you and this and this and this, and I don't know, she's in love. She needs to be there for him. She needs to help him, this kind of thing. So the final call that I got with her, and I had even told her beforehand, not that I was trying to be prophetic in what I was saying, but it was just, it happens in domestic violence situations sometimes, oftentimes, if it continues to go like that progressively, what's the end game? That one kills the other, or one kills both, which you have the murder-suicides that happen quite often too, which was another scenario that happened when I tried to protect a woman and her family, a woman and her children, against her abuser. And her abuser, I sent him away. She refused to testify against him. My team and I, we sent him away. He was gone for 3 years doing his time. He came back. The day he came back, he called her to meet with her, tell her how much he loved her, killed her, and killed himself. So these are the kind of things that, for me as a domestic, or I say, I'm a domestic violence detective survivor. It's like, because of the things that I have seen, and it's just, when I was starting to tell you about the woman who I had gone and see her many times, and this call was a call that there was shots fired, right? I go to the house, she's sitting in her truck, she was trying to drive away, and he shot her in her neck. And she was bleeding out right there when I came to there, and I didn't have a trauma kit or anything. I'm just trying to hold her neck and tell her to hold on, and I literally watched the lights go out. The life drain out of her in the car. And this is the same person who I sat so many times and responded to her house as a police officer and said, "You need to get out of this situation." Yeah. So there's so many heartbreaking stories that I can tell, but those are, you said, Deneen, stand out, and those are some that to this day still stand out to me, because I'm just heartbroken that they're gone. But you cannot make a grown person do anything they don't want to do.
Right.
So therefore all you can do is say, this is probably what's best for you. It might make sense if you do it, but if you don't do it, I can't come and arrest you and make you do it, so. Yeah.
Right, and it's bad because you kind of know where it's going. And you want so badly to help them, and then you don't want to hold on to guilt for the rest of your life.
Thinking,
maybe one time I could have, right? You know what I'm saying? And I think, a lot of police officers that I have talked to, they do feel that, like, oh yeah, like you go through those stages, and guilt definitely sticks with you no matter what, even if there's nothing anyone could have done.
Correct.
It's still like, I remember when I was on that day, what if I just, right?
Right.
So after that, I know you retired, and you knew that wasn't the only thing you had in you. It wasn't just, that talent that you had, but you also were seeking something else, right? You were asking questions.
I was very well trained on the police department. I tell you what, I retired young, As soon as I was able to retire, I was out of there. I bought some time, so I had my 25 years in the system called down. ASPERS, which is our system that does our retirement. I says, when do I hit 25? They said, you hit it in July. And it was like November. So I was like, oh, anytime now, right? I'm on long time right now, you know. So what I had done is I went to my lieutenant and I said, hey, my thing is I'm a natural born trainer. I'm a learn, do, teach person. You know, I'm a certified coach. You know, Dale Carnegie. In fact, I just did a speaking engagement where I was the judge for veterans that were speaking their story. You know, so part of the Lord has just blessed me kind of with this ability to communicate, okay, in many aspects. You know, I'm a best-selling author. Right. You know, I've helped many other people become best-selling authors, that kind of stuff. So I look at it like this. It's like, I'm here for a reason. There's a purpose to my life, and I shouldn't have, and I didn't retire and say, oh, you know, I'm done. I'm going to go to the beach. Now, bear in mind, I get beaches in. I do a lot of traveling, okay? Yeah. But I tend to do it with my films. You know, like I've been to Cannes twice with my films, the Cannes Film Festival. I've been to Barcelona 3 times, you know, with my films. You know, I just am so blessed with how the Lord has opened the doors. And I do the domestic violence trainings. So I actually take best practice trainings around the world. Last training was in Curacao last June. I go and I teach the local police agencies because not everybody has all of the training that we have here in the U.S. on domestic violence issues, sex trafficking issues, things such as that. So I was invited to Curacao, which is one of the ABC islands. It is Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, and it's off the coast of Miami, you know, out there. And I was able to go there and train, and they've had me back 3 times since then. So my thing is, I think it's very important to use your life, the things that the Lord has blessed you with. I mean, all of this training, these skills, all of this filmmaking, the love of filmmaking, writing, all of that. I just, every day I wake up and I say, Lord, how can I be of service? What is it I'm supposed to do for you today? You know, like today I said I was out scouting, you know, for my next film. You know, because next in September, the first week of September, I'm filming a film before I leave to go to Barcelona for a film festival.
Period. You know, period. You're living the life that everyone is dreaming of living. You know, you're being able to work, you're being able to meet people, you're being able to live your passion, do what you love to do, and also contribute to things that can be more, right? Like we were talking earlier about the film industry in Vegas. You've been here for some time and you've been doing many films. I know that you're involved in way over 20. Right. And you've seen how things have changed in the city of Las Vegas, right? And what's different about you that I really want to say to the audience is that your films are all about faith. That you make sure, you know, they're very classy. You focus them and center them around your beliefs, and that's kind of like your trademark.
Yes.
So what was the day when you had this epiphany that this is it? This is going to be my mark in film. This is what I'm doing now. This is my goal.
Well, I knew I was always going to do faith-based films. I have a cringe effect when I watch films that do, you know, what is it, nudity and profanity and, you know, the N-word and all that stuff. And people do it because people will pay and they'll go, you know. But that's not what my thing is. In the end, what's my message? You know, I want to give somebody a wholesome message and education through the film, you know, that they will walk away and go, oh, okay, that was cool. Not that, oh, man, and this was, you know, he was saying all this and blah, blah, blah. What was the message? You know, and you can do a message without all of that profanity and cussing and nudity and all that kind of stuff. You can still get, and I've done it in all my films, you know. I have over 25 awards for my films. So obviously I'm doing something right in not embracing that, you know, cussing and fussing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I love that. You know, because a lot of people feel like, oh yeah, it's going to have more passion if you say that, like they let them improv and then actors kind of get way out of whatever the line was. You know, so you have to have a team and people around you that also believe in your films to be able to make it the vision that you're creating. A lot of times you have to have trust in your actors and your crew in order to tell the story, because it is your story, right? That you don't want, because everything like, no, this is, you know, and it could be really hard to make sure that you're sticking true to your message, especially because you're all about teaching people and helping people with those things, which I love. And so where do you see film going for Vegas? And are you really hoping that you are going to be making a big contribution to it?
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg, I think do you have my number? Should I give it to you? I know he's here. Someone else is here that I know it's slipping my mind. But the thing is, I know that we have a great place for people to come and create films. And we have already in place a bunch of really good studios for people to come and create film. But then you also have a lot of independent filmmakers who are here creating film, in Las Vegas. So you become Vegas famous. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with being Vegas famous. Mm-hmm. Tell your story and work with what we have. That's why I love the film office. They're always like, what is it say? Your vision, our location, or something like that is their theme. Vegas is not just the strip. The strip. I have made so many films, and I don't think the strip has ever been a part of it. People do their B-roll and they have the strip. Right. You won't see that. In fact, the film I'm making right now is focused on the mountains.
Amazing.
Yes, it's focused on the mountains. So, and that's because, and I'm making a character. Right. The Vegas mountains. And I think it's important for us to be unique in our storytelling. I think it's important for us to use the resources and the things that are available to us, like the mountains. Yeah. The desert.
Everything.
There's just so much.
It's very accessible.
It's very accessible. The lake. We have even the little lakes around the city. That you can go and film at with the ducks and all that kind of stuff. There's so many creative things. In fact, like when I did one of my films called Meet Me After School, and we got best cinematography. And I truly believe it was because the ducks were a character in our film.
Oh, okay. You're like, you see them floating around and you're like, you know what? Come on by.
The kids were playing
You're now booked. You're hired. You're cast as the duck.
and they were cheap, just breadcrumbs.
Right. Now, is there one of your films that you are most proud of to this day? Even when you're working, that's one film that you say would best solidify you as a filmmaker, and that's really the one that you're the most proud of, that you would show everyone?
The one that's won the most awards, and that's Why Should I Care?
Okay.
And Why Should I Care is a film that talked about a woman who was believed to be the victims of domestic violence. She was working in a business office, and she had a very stern boss who would not give her any leeway. She came to work beat up one day, and we tell the story around why we should have cared that she came home, or that she came to work beat up. And it ends up talking about sex trafficking and infidelity, just a whole bunch of issues all in one story. And that's probably one of my, actually it's the one I'm the most proud of. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, how long ago did you film that one?
2018.
Okay.
Yeah, it was actually my very first, but my first film was a 48-hour film.
Okay.
And then the very next film after that, because I won an award for the 48, and then I went on Vegas Live with Ninon, and her camera guy was like, "Oh, I want to make a movie. Can you make a movie?" He goes, "I'd love to make a movie with you." And he goes, "Do you have any scripts or anything like that?" His name's Steven Sebo. And I said, yes, because I coach people this. Just say yes and figure it out, right? Yeah. So he was like, "Okay, we need," and his partner was Kona, and he said, "Well, I need to leave on Friday, so can you have it ready for Friday?" So I had another 48-hour film festival, because that was a Tuesday. But we made the film, and it was Why Should I Care? That was the film.
Wow.
We ended up casting one of the ladies, just like when I was sitting in the hallway talking to Greg and Steven, one of the friends that was sitting on the couch with me, I casted her in the movie because she happened to be next to me when he asked me, did I have a movie? And that was Lindsay Cruz. And she is an amazing, amazing actress. And to this day, everybody's like, "How did you get her?" It's like, she was sitting next to me on the couch.
See, what happened was,
what happened was,
God said,
right? She said, "I'd love to work with you. How can I help?" And then within 20 minutes, I'm calling her going, "Hey, listen."
Were you serious about that? Because, I really need to answer yes or no.
Exactly.
But and since then, you've just blossomed, and it kind of has just been, no pun intended, God-giving.
Amen.
And amen, right? And what is your take on using Vegas locals? Because there's a whole stigma around the film community, and even when you do national commercials, they will always outsource, right? And it makes a lot of Vegas talent kind of upset, being like, we have that here, and we just need that opportunity to kind of let our talent shine. So do you prominently look to Vegas and really showcase?
Always look local.
Okay.
Come see me. Get a hold of me.
Love
I
it.
am 888 Spirit Productions, 8 Spirit Productions on Facebook. And director Tamia Dow, all together at Gmail. And I'm casting for my film for next week. So yes, I've cast locals all the time. I have seen so many amazing people come on through our films. And see, filmmaking, to me, filmmaking is a team sport.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about me. I can't make a film by just me standing here on the box and putting a video there. I mean, I could technically, you know what I'm saying? But
teamwork. Teamwork. You need a lot of hands.
Yes. What does they say? Many hands make light work. Okay. So please, and I like people that are passionate and that will come and that'll be like, you know, I'm supposed to be an actress. I know I'm supposed to do my lines, but listen, is there anything else I can do? Can I help you with this? Mm-hmm. Can I make a bed? You know, can I this? Because there's sets. You know, there's all. You know, what I'm saying there's so much to filmmaking. Yes.
People doing everything all at once.
Yes.
And while also it's a workplace and people are here, but they're also like mingling, getting to know each other. Right. You have to work together and see each other all the time, right?
Well, and that's the thing is you never know who you're sitting next to.
Right.
You know, I could walk out of here today and you'd be like, Tamia, hey, I got a gig for you. I'd be like, Priscilla, hey, I got a gig for you. And it's just because we met, we sat down, we were a few minutes on set together, and then now we know each other and we can refer each other and we can help each other's careers, you know?
That's the whole point of this, and Vegas is a great place for that. And I think it's kind of better that, you know, we're in a smaller, non-known city for film. Like, we're not the LA, New York, like the stereotypical idea of what those cities are. And we're able to just build it from the bottom up and be really proud of it and be a part of it mostly.
Right.
And so I know that you're working on one now, but what's the most recent film that people can go watch, and where is it streamed?
We just finished a showcase last Friday of 4 of my films. Why Should I Care was one of them, because it's my favorite. We did A Rising Eagle, which was a story about a Middle Eastern Indian woman who is a pastor. She's a Christian pastor. We told her story. Then it was Toxic Love, which is actually a domestic violence film, and sex trafficking. But Toxic Love, you only see the domestic violence part of it because it's a treatment for another feature that we're putting together and fundraising for. And Lord's Choice is my most recent film. Okay. So we screened that, and it's currently in film festivals. Okay. And I will be taking that to Barcelona here in September. Okay. Yes. Great. Fantastic. But I am making a new film, okay? Yeah, she's in the works. So that's how I'm not going to get all the details. Yes. You know, it's in the works. It's in the works right now. Casting. So she's casting. Send your stuff. Everything. Now I'm going to ask you this one, and I really wish that I could spend all day talking to you because you have so much passion and drive and so many things. But is there a motto or philosophy that you live by? That's a very good question. So I truly believe there's a scripture, Colossians 3:23, that we are supposed to work as unto the Lord and not unto men. So regardless of what we do, it's not to please man, it's to please God. Yeah. So every single thing that I do, it's for His glory. Yeah. And that's how I live. It's kind of like live your life, enjoy your life for His glory. Yeah. And He told us in John 10:10 that He came to bring us life more abundant. And people forget that. Abundant life means living your life to the fullest, blessing people along the way, which is what I do my best to do every single day. How can I be a blessing to this person? Even if it's just a smile or a hello, you know, a brief moment just chatting with them, you can really change somebody's life, especially in our dark society where a lot of people are thinking about doing harm to themselves. And just a kind word could really change people's lives. It can. You never know who you're meeting. Never. Right? And it's not just for work businesses and networking, but literally you don't know what someone's going through. So it's always best to open them up with a hello, a nice hello, a smile, and just know that they are cared for. Right. You know, because we're all human. No matter how we feel about ourselves or how confident or how successful we are, we're a human at the end of the day. We go home, we all have our intrusive thoughts, we all have, you know, our own insecurities, whatever they may be, and we have to somehow just know that we are loved by
society, by people, whatever it is, right?
Because we're supposed to love one another.
Yeah.
That's actually the greatest commandment. So the
Yeah.
greatest of these is love. We are commanded to love one another.
So what legacy do you want to leave behind? Whether it be in regards to film or just you as a public figure, as a talented woman, what is the legacy?
There's a song, I think I first show it's from, where it says, try everything, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, try everything. Okay, so I know I was bad because it's kind of high pitched, but it's try everything. Do everything that the Lord puts on your heart. Mm-hmm. Do it to the best of your ability and enjoy it. Even if it's not perfect, enjoy it. I always tell my authors, I said, you know what, you can't edit a blank page. You have to create something in order to edit it, in order to change it, in order to enhance it. So do it. Mm-hmm. And I want to take the word try out, because try doesn't happen. You have to do. You either do or you don't, right? Is that what Yoda told you? Yeah. You either do or you don't. There's no try, right? Yeah. So go out and do it. If the Lord puts something on your heart to do it. Even if you can't do it your best. You know what? When I did my first film, did I know everything? No. You know what my guideline was for my first film? I had never made a film before, even though I have the film hat on right here from UNLV. At the time, 2018, I had never made a film before, and I followed the guidelines for the 48-hour film festival or film project. And I tell you what, to this day, I still follow those guidelines when I make a movie. So do what you need to do. Try a 48-hour if you really want to make a film, because we're talking about filmmaking, right? Try a 48-hour. I became the producer, director, writer, casting agent, everything on my first 48. And I turned around and I won an award. And that's a whole story in and of itself of how that happened. But because of, anyways, it's a long story. But God blessed me, and I won the social awareness film because we were talking about veterans, homelessness, and suicide. Mm-hmm. And that came to me 30 hours into the 48, because the first project that I had put together for it, my actress fell through. So all my actors had acted around her, and we couldn't use any of that footage. I had to create a whole new film.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But then look.
Exactly.
Right? And you're like, thank you, Lord. And quickly, but she does have a ministerial degree, right? You did say you are an actor chaplain, so she is a minister, and she's here preaching and doing. You combine everything that you can do into one thing.
I do my best.
And I love. And then you're sharing that thing with everyone else, and no one can even say that they do the same, because you can't even be like, there's so many of me. There's one of you, and that is you, and you are here
with multiple hats. And that's why I actually have a hat on today. I was joking with Greg out there. I said, I never come on a set like this. I usually, hair's done, I'm in a dress. I was like, you know what? This is how I scout. This is how I'm on set, Baseball cap, tennis shoes, comfortable,
Right, that's the set look. You're the woman, and she came in like the woman in charge. I said, yeah, she does what she looks the role, like that's the role, but absolutely amazing. And you already did tell me where to go to find you.
Yes, the number 8 here. Spirit Productions on Facebook, or Chaplain Dow, CHAPLAI, and Dow, DOW, Instagram, or what is it? There we go, at Tamia_Dow. And if you want to see my film stuff, most of that's on Instagram. So if you go to Instagram, you'll find a lot of the film projects. You'll just
find everything about
trips to Cannes and trips to Spain.
Right. Just like the everyday life. Like, what do you, just like everyone's Instagram. What do you mean?
You're so funny.
Amazing. I had a pleasure sitting with you and just kind of unraveling all the things that make you, because they're all very important. Every single one of those steps are very important, and says why. Right? Why your films are the way they are, why you talk about. Because normally with filmmakers, you ask, okay, like what inspired you for that film? Like, we got to dig to what makes you you. And this is your way of sharing that gift that you had with the world. So thank you so much, everyone. She is casting and never not working, so I'm pretty sure she will always be casting. So you know what I mean? I don't see her stopping anytime soon. Which is great.
The Lord has not told me to do so.
No. You're like, I didn't hear it today. Okay. Amazing. So everyone, Chaplain Tamia Dow, round of applause for her. And please stay tuned, because we are not done talking, but definitely on your break, go look her up. Get her contact.